to declare what I think might be my income during this coming year, or is it something to do with last year?
Okay, so the purpose of the CFE form is it's a tax, and it's the tax office that asks for this information so they can calculate what your liability is for professional tax. Okay, so it's nothing to do with income tax. It's nothing to do with your social contributions. It
Okay.
is to do with your professional tax. Now, the CFE professional tax is paid once a year on the 15th of December.
Yeah.
Your first year is exempt, so that's why in 2019 you haven't had to pay anything, but in 2020 you will have to pay. And in order for them to be able to find out how much you need to pay, this document needs to be filled in and sent back. So how do they work it out? There's a few criteria they take into account, one being the amount of space you use to manage your business activity, and the other being the earnings going through your business as well, and also where your activity is. So for example, you know, northern France areas are different to southern France areas, so there is an element of weighting to where the area is. So each community has their own brackets for that value. So, but the main two criteria is how much space you use for your business activity and the earnings. Now, bearing in mind, as an entrepreneur, the earnings levels are very low anyway. You're never going to be paying a fortune in CFE tax, okay? Because it is bracketed, okay? And I think, and Jenny is the one that takes care of your CFE declarations at the end of each year, so you don't have to worry about the actual declaration. That is done for you as part of the club, but you do have to get this document sent back.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen where I actually have the document, and we will take a look at it together. Let me know where you can see my screen.
I've got a, yes, I can see a form on the screen now. Yes.
You see it's written cotisation foncière des entreprises.
Oh, you've got a copy of my form.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through it, okay?
Was that copy sent to you, or was that just from the photo?
That's just from the photo.
Well, it's good quality.
So yeah, it's well, because it's scanned, so it's a good quality. So this is the first page, the front page, and as you can see on the left hand side, most of it is completed for you, so that's fine. And on the right hand side is if there's any modifications to be made. So in your particular case, there's no modifications to be made. So the first page, the A1 is the identification, so that's okay. The A2, it needs to be signed at the bottom and dated. If you can see, it's A, so that's where it is that you're signing it, the date and the signature, the bottom on the right hand side. And just above that, the little square with a little tick box. You can tick that little box because that is basically asking you if you are using your home to where you manage your business from.
Okay.
Space, and how much space. So we're going to put in square meters next to that, how much space is being used for that. Okay, so I would imagine it's a few square meters only because you're just managing it from your office desk or something.
Basically,
like that.
yeah.
So 3 or 4 square meters you can put there. Okay, so that's basically the first page.
Just a minute. Just let me catch up. I'm behind you.
So you pick the box, you write your 3 or 4 square meters, and then you sign and date the bottom on the right hand side.
Can you point at the box that you're talking about?
You see there, look?
That's, yeah, that's where we tick.
And then just next to it here on the right hand side, there's a little 2 points, and just put 3 square meters.
How many square meters would you suggest for a lawnmower and some tools?
What are you using? You're just using your office desk? You have a room for it?
Oh yeah, office desk. Yeah, there's a. Does it? I mean, it's in my bedroom. It's part of the bedroom. The bedroom's quite the big bedroom. But
how big is your apartment altogether?
The house is about probably about 180 square meters for the whole house.
So I would just put 3 square meters, which is plenty, really, isn't it, for what you're using?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to turn over the page.
Right.
And you can see page 2. I'm just going to get rid of this so that you can actually see it on my screen. So at the top of it, you've got création d'établissement.
Yeah.
You can tick that one because it's a creation.
Yeah.
And you can also take a début d'activité because it's the beginning of the activity. So it's a creation and it's a starting activity, okay?
Okay.
So that is all for the first bit. Then you've got A4.
Yeah.
You don't need to fill that in.
Identification
Yeah,
of
you
the
don't,
old.
because that's the person who was already in the business. Well, this is
Right.
new business. So if, for example, this was a transfer, or if this was a buyout, then we would put the old name of the person who had the business. This is not your
Okay.
case, so you
Yeah.
can make A4 free. B1 is all about the information concerning your business. Okay. So on the left hand side it's about 2019, and on the right hand side it's about 2018, because
Yeah.
obviously depending when the business was created. For you was created in 2019, I believe,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
It's January, wasn't it?
January 2019. So we're going to fill in the B1 on the left hand side. Okay.
Yeah.
So in the number 1, as you can see, the number 1, it says date of the creation of the business. So you're going to put 01/01/2019.
Yeah.
Under number 2, it is what is the effective in the code, that is how many people are working for you in 2019. Of course, an auto-entrepreneur, nobody's going to be working for you. So you're just going to put 0 in both boxes.
Okay.
Next to number 2,
Mm-hmm.
and the same next to number 3, and to next to number 4, and to next to number 5, because that is all about people who are working for the business with you.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, under number 3, it's about apprentices. Number 4 is about handicapped.
All
Number
right.
5 is about salaried people. So none of these, you've got nobody working for you. So you put 0 everywhere.
Yeah.
And number 6, they want to know about how much you estimated, because normally this form is filled in during the course of 2019. Of course, we're in 2020, so we already know what you've earned. But normally when this is filled out, you don't really know exactly what you're going to earn. And they're asking you what they think your turnover is going to be for 2019. So in number 6, you put in what you think your turnover is going to be. What was your turnover? I think it was 0 in the end, wasn't it?
No, I declared at €819 for the.
Okay, so just put €800 in there.
Okay.
So 800 goes to number 6. And then number 7 and number 8 is about the adjustment from the year. Don't forget, this is a pro rata. Now, your business was created in January, so it is a whole year. Some businesses are set up in July or in August, in which case we do the pro rata, which we would take line 6, multiply by 12 and divide it by the number of months that the business is active. For you, it's 12 months, so you're going to put the same amount into number 8. So it'll be 800, because the estimated was for 800, and that's what you did, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So under number 9, this is any income that is coming from rental of property, which yours is not a rental of property, so you can put 0. And then the same for number 11, because that's the adjustment for the year, so you put 0. Okay.
Okay.
That's section B1.
Well, that was reasonably easy.
It looks more complicated than it actually is, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
Section B2, again, is information about the...
Do we have to do the right-hand side of B1?
No, because that's about 2018.
Oh, yeah.
On the top, it says...
Stupid bit. I'm looking at sometimes miss obvious facts when I'm reading stuff. It's my weakness.
Ah, well, that's why you have me here with you. You wouldn't have you filling this in on your own, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So B2, again, is about the business itself, okay? So we're going to go down it, we're going to walk down it. So again, into number 1, it's asking you how many salaried people are going to be working through in your business in 2019. Of course, that's going to be 0.
Yeah.
Then it's asking you, there's 2 white boxes towards the left-hand side there. It's asking you, if it's a seasonal activity, how many weeks will you be using the business? Well, of course, it's not seasonal, so you're going to put, you're not going to put anything in those 2 boxes there. The first box, sorry, the first box, I think it's a number, I can't see the number, I think it's a number 6. It might be a black 6.
It is a 6.
Okay, so that you're just going to leave because you're not doing a seasonal business. The next one is a number 7, I think.
Yeah.
And that is a micro, it's saying micro-entrepreneur, bénéficiaire de régime micro.
Yeah.
That is you. That is what you are. So you're going to tick that box.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Then we're going to pass. So next to number 1, of course, you've got 0 written next to number 1. And then in number 2, it's the durée d'exploitation, is actually how many weeks your business was open in 2019. Well, effectively, you was open all year. So that would be 52 weeks. Of course, if it was opened in July, then of course it would be, you know, half of that amount.
Yeah.
For you, you've got a whole year, so it makes it simple. It's 52. And of course, the next one, number 3, is how many weeks it will be open in 2020. So that will be 52 weeks. And that's important to put in because, of course, it's to show that you have a full-time activity. It's not a part-time activity.
All right. Okay.
Next to number 4, it's the date that you actually set up the business. And again, so that will be the 1st of January 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the next ones, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all technical questions concerning if you're using eolian, so you know other energies other than electricity. There's number 6, which I don't think that's the case. Is it for you?
If
you're using eolian electricities or
no.
alternative energy sources. Number 5 is if you're doing.
What do I put in the box? Just leave it blank.
Leave it blank, yes.
Yeah.
So leave all of those blank, and that's it for that page.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. The next page.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about detailing out the usage of the property, okay, and what the property is.
We're talking about my own property that I live in.
Yes, well, the property that you live in, which is also being used for your business as well.
Okay.
So number 1 is what type of property is it? So is it a house or an apartment?
Mm-hmm.
So of course, I don't know, what is it? An apartment you have or a house?
No, it's a house.
So you can write maison.
Okay.
Number 2, of course, is the address. So you have to write your address down there, 40 Rue de Marais. $57.60. Okay. Okay. Number 3 is if it's a certain, you know, if it's in a different, like a second floor or third floor, which is not appropriate for you because it's not an apartment.
Right.
Number 4 is about apartments as well. Number 5 is about the predecessor who lived there before you. If you know that person, you can put it. If you don't, then just leave it blank.
Well, it was a new build for me. No one else has lived there.
So in that case, leave that blank.
Yeah.
Number 6 is when did you first start living in this property?
Now then, is that when I regard it as my home in last May, or we're talking about when I first started living in it in 2000, December 2000, once I got a roof on it?
Well, you can, from the moment you well, it's a good one. Have you been paying your taxe d'habitation, your taxe foncière since?
Well, the taxe foncière and taxe d'habitation have been paid since 2004. That's when I declared it was the external shell was finished from the purposes.
Yeah, so that's when it's occupied, because before that it's vacant and you can't live in it, so you don't pay when it's not.
All right, so 2004.
Yeah, so put the date that when you started actually living in it as a valid place that you can live in, because
Right.
before that, if you can't live in it, then it's you don't get charged for tax.
Does it have to be an exact date, or can it just be the year?
Yeah, put the month and the year if you can would be a good idea. I mean, you can visit that afterwards, it's not a problem, but yeah, so February 2004, or okay.
Yeah.
So then we're going to look at number 7, which is how big is the house in square meters. Obviously, that can be an approximate. It doesn't have to be, dead on, but
Is it just for the outside dimensions to make a square
So
meter?
this takes into account basically the house itself. So
So the house is, let's say it's 9 meters by 9 meters, so it's 81 square meters on the ground floor, but it's got a second floor, so that's 162.
So 162 square meters, yeah.
All right, I'll put 160. Okay.
And then we're going to break that down into how it's being used, okay? So obviously professional space, we've just said it's going to be 3 square meters. So you'll put in number 8, 3 square meters.
Yeah.
And then industrial, commercial, you'll put 0 because it's not being used for industrial or commercial.
Yeah.
And then habitation, which is your living quarters, would be the difference between the size of the property and your 3 square meters.
157.
Okay.
Okay.
In the next section, we're going to break down those 3 square meters that you're using for professional space into how you're using it. So obviously it's not a shop, it's not a magazine, so that's going to be 0 next to number 12. It's going to be 0 next to number 13, which is entrepôt, which is stockage.
Yeah.
And then number 14 is office. Therefore, so that would be 3 square meters going office.
Yeah.
And then number 15, you can just put a line. There's nothing to put there.
Okay.
Number 16 is you are the owner, so tick number 16.
Yeah.
Of course, 17 is you're not going to fill in. That would be as if you were the renter of the property, you would tick that and put the name of the person, but you're not, so we'll leave number 17 empty.
Okay.
Number 18 is if you were subletting an apartment with somebody else, you're not.
Yeah.
Number 19 is if you've got a commercial contract with the property, which you don't, in which case you'd put the owner's name. You don't, so we leave that free. Number 20 is if you live in there rent free, you're not. Number 21 is if you are sharing the house with somebody, you're not. Number 22 is asking if you have any parking spaces that you use specifically for the business. No. I don't think you do you?
No, because I use my personal car to tow a trailer that carries my tools.
No, so you don't really have a parking space specifically for the business and for the client.
No.
Leave that empty. You're not renting. Number 24 is loué en meubles if you're renting property. 25 and 26 is the same. And number 27 is if you get some specific reductions, which you don't. So that's fine for that page. So turn to the back page now, which looks very nasty, I know.
Oh, God.
Which is, it looks worse than it actually is. So this is all about exoneration. So
what does exoneration mean?
Exonerations is basically concerning what discounts you get for CFE tax. Okay, so if you've got
tax evasion part.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, you do get the first year exonerated, so you don't pay for the first year. And now auto entrepreneurs who are earning less than €5,000 per year are getting exonerated as well. So you normally should not pay in 2020, okay, as well, because we've given that as anybody who earns less than €5,000 with a small business has exoneration, okay? So that's just some updated news for you. That doesn't mean, that still means we have to do the declaration, but normally you shouldn't pay, okay?
If I didn't pay this, just out of interest, let's suppose I had an income of €4,500, so I'll be exonerated from this particular tax, but does that mean I wouldn't be paying enough social charges? They might come at me for some more social charges.
You need to keep your social, you need to pay you need to get in at least €4,000 a year, I would
All
say.
right. Okay.
So if you get at 4-5, then you're kind of in the right area, because they won't come out for your healthcare, but they will also come for your CFE tax. So,
Yeah.
so that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thanks.
So in the first section, there is just one thing to tick. It is under column 5A. I think it's 5A. Let me just go and check.
5A. Can you point to it with your mouse?
Yes, it's just here. Look, can you see?
Oh, that one. Yeah. Yeah.
It's under the CFE column because that's what's concerning for us, and it's 5A because it's a new activity. Okay, so you get exoneration.
Okay. Do I tick that?
Yes,
So ticking 5A.
5A. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is usually all we tick on this one, because you're not unless if you're in a rural zone that benefits from very special special exonerations, then we don't have anything else to tick on here.
It is a rural zone.
What is, let me just see if I can see. Let me go on to my other, hang on a second.
It's rural in the sense that on Boxing Day, my partner and I cheered on Boxing Day when a car passed by. We hadn't seen a car for 2 days on the road. This is quiet.
I don't know. Let's have a look. Exonerations for
I don't think it'd make any difference this year, would it? But it might be for a future,
yes, exactly.
to keep a consistent entry in future years.
Let's have a look, see if we can find if yours in there. So what's your postcode?
5760.
5760.
I can read it.
57. And that is Valconville.
Yes.
Let's have a look. Okay. It doesn't show whereabouts is that your area. It doesn't actually show me. I'm not good at geography, so let me have a look. 5760.
North Normandy, northeast, right up at the very tip of Normandy, the bit that sticks out towards England.
Okay, so like Le Hague and things like that up there.
Yeah, it's actually only about 10, maybe 12 miles from Cherbourg.
Okay. Cherbourg and Cottonton. Okay, I can see.
Yeah.
So let me have a look.
East of Cherbourg.
Yeah, no, it's not in a ZRR. I don't know that. Got that then. Yeah, no, so unfortunately you don't benefit from that.
All right, not to worry.
It's there, I'm just showing it here, look. You can probably see it on my screen now. Zone in the yellow is what is classed in the ZRR, which is the zone de revitalisation, and Europe here somewhere, I think.
Yeah, it's just to the right. If you go from Cherbourg, cross over just right, you get Cantelou and Valconville towards a bit further to right of you.
You really are up there. There, I can see. There you are.
Yeah, Varuville and
Hello, Frankenville. Wow, complete opposite side to me, aren't you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It is.
So that you can't fill any of those in. Okay, so that's it basically for you.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, that's it.
All
So,
right. Okay. And going back to the
sorry, I didn't hear you there. Hello.
hello.
Oh, I've got you back. There you go.
Ah, good.
Okay, so you understand what needs to be done now. You've
Well,
filled it in.
I've filled it in as we've gone along. I've got an understanding of what the form is now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do I send this back to the address on the front of the form?
Yes, you do exactly.
That's 14 Rue Saint-Malo, Bologna.
Yes. So keep a copy, of course, for your files. Make sure you keep a
Yes.
copy for your files, and if you want to upload it into the intranet, you can as well.
Yeah.
And then just send it off, yes, to the tax office, and they will then, let you know. We'll know near the time in December how
Yeah.
much, if anything, you have to pay. All right.
Okay. That's fine.
Uh,
Do they have this particular group of people, do they have access to my bank account like one of